Hello and welcome to Krynica in Poland for day 2 of this double World Cup weekend for the snowboard alpine races, parallel giant slalom on the menu today, with the crystal globes to be decided in today's racing for the parallel giant slalom World Cup Tour 2025. Yesterday saw a superb day's racing, and we're in for another treat today. Stay with us over the next hour and a half as the parallel giant slalom World Cup Tour concludes here in Krynica in Poland. Final moments of preparation underway then for day 2 here in Krynica, ahead of the elimination rounds for the men and the women in the parallel giant slalom snowboard. 16 women and 16 men to race over this course as they did yesterday. The fastest of each heat to progress through to the next round, which will take us down to the finals as the gold medals are decided today, and the crystal globes also in the race to the parallel giant slalom standings win. An opportunity for us to check out the conditions today with better conditions than were expected. It had been very warm here, but yesterday the conditions held out nicely for the race. It's 0 degrees today, and we're expecting the same. 23 gates over the course, which is a kilometre, or just over a kilometre, 1,023 metres in length, over a vertical drop of 310 metres. Like I say, 23 gates lined out on side-by-side parallel courses, the red course and the blue course, to see side-by-side alpine snowboard racing in today's final event of the World Cup Tour for the parallel giant slalom races. And German legend Ramona Theresa Hofmeister came into yesterday's race in second place behind Tsubaki Miki, but a third win in a row for the German put her on top of the standings with 713 points. But she still has to get a solid result today to secure the crystal globe. In the men's competition, that job was done yesterday. Maurizio Bermolini did enough with a podium finish yesterday in third place to further extend his lead on the standings, which means he now can't be touched, and secured the crystal globe for Italy yesterday in day 1 of the racing here in Krynica. That's a look at the tour as it has played out, starting at the end of November in China, taking us through to Krynica now here in Poland, this double World Cup weekend. The races off the back of another double World Cup weekend in Val-Saint-Côme, Canada, back in mid-February. And like I say, today, the last parallel giant slalom race of the year. Still some action to come later on in the year. We've still got a parallel slalom race to look forward to in Germany, and the big event of the year, the World Championships in St. Moritz in the Engadine Valley of Switzerland in the second half of March. And many of the athletes that are racing in today's race, of course, will be eyeing their possibilities of victory at that, the biggest championship event of the season. And let's not forget, parallel giant slalom is the Olympic discipline of alpine snowboard racing, and with a Winter Olympic Games to be run next year, hosted in Milan, Cortina. Also, many of today's top racers will be eyeing victory at that particular event also. Slightly overcast conditions today compared to yesterday. We had nice blue skies yesterday, although I suspect the racers may be
Susanna, third place today in
quite
qualis.
pleased with the
Tell us,
overcast
how was
conditions because the
the
course
quali and
will probably
elimination
hold
run? How
up
did it
better. It
go?
won't get so warm.
Yeah, it was good. First time was perfect because it was icy. I was fourth on the course, so it was good. But second was almost good prepared because the conditions are good because here is 6 degrees Celsius, so we thought will be soft, but it's good prepared. So yeah, it's hard on second, and I think in final will be good too. Yeah.
Thanks, Susanna. Okay, so Michelle, second place. What can you tell us about the conditions on the course today?
Yeah, the conditions are surprisingly very good today in this race. Second one, I got a little more bumpy, but that's makes sense. But yeah, it looked really nice. So I'm super excited for finals.
Thanks, Michelle. So Tsubaki, you just won qualis here on the second day. What can we expect from you in the big finals?
Today? I don't know, I can go to the big final today, but yeah, I have 4 runs in the final, so I do my best and I run my best run, so then I want to win, then get the Crystal Globe, yeah.
Thanks, Tsubaki. Okay, so team, third place in qualis today, second day in Krynica. Tell us, how did your 2 quali runs go?
Yeah, not much better than yesterday. Actually, I had a good feeling also yesterday. I was fast, but didn't show that in the finals. But that's the goal for today. I know I'm fast on conditions like this, so let's enjoy some riding.
Hvala, team. Okay, so Mirko, second place in qualis today in Krynica. What can you tell us about the conditions on the course?
But today was better. The organization did a good work, and I hope for the finals because now becomes sun. And we'll see. I'm surfing very well, but now it's time to finals.
Grazie, Mirko. So Maurizio, you won qualis today. You already clinched the globe yesterday. Tell us, how would the finals go? You feel any pressure?
No, now not. No pressure. I just want to try to do my best. I want to finish with a good result. So yeah, I will try, but yeah, I will see. And yeah, it's funny to ride also today, and yeah.
Thanks, Mauro.
So Maurizio Bermolini with yesterday's podium finish, fastest in qualifications today, but already has clinched the World Cup crown and will be awarded with his FIS Crystal Globe after today's racing, regardless of where he finishes. Although, as we just heard, he was the fastest of today's qualifiers, so he's certainly coming into the last race of the year, the last parallel giant slalom race of the year in form. The women to take to the course first. Side-by-side action on the parallel giant slalom course here in Krynica in Poland, day 2 of the race action. A day that will conclude the Parallel Giant Slalom World Cup points for the year. And here we go, up in the gate for our first 2 riders in the women's competition. Martina Ankel of Austria on the blue course. Lucia Dalmaso for Italy on the red course. Dalmaso, one of the highlight riders of yesterday's racing, and gets the better start in the first of the round of 8 finals. There she is on the red course, already with a Reasonable lead. We'll get to take a look at that at the first intermediate split. 0.22 of a second, separating the two, with the Austrian trailing the Italian by about a board's length. Of course, holding up well so far after the qualifications earlier on. The Austrian closing the gap a little on the Italian at the midway point. And here they go. Oh, but the Austrian Martina Ankel goes down, loses an edge. Body slides about 4 gates out from the end and hands the win to Lucia Dalmaso of Italy. So Dalmaso, like I say, had a good day yesterday. It looks like she's having another one today.
Ready? Attention.
So Dalmaso there goes through after a 4th place finish yesterday. Her teammate Elisa Caffont of Italy, once again the Italian team out in force today. Racing on the red course is Caffont up against Sabine Payer of Austria on the blue course. Course holding up pretty well so far. It's quite warm at the moment here in Krynica, Poland, but the sun is not on the course as it was yesterday, and yesterday's conditions were better. Oh, they're exactly neck and neck at the second split, but down goes the Italian. That's a disappointment. Well, a neck and neck position at the second split. Sabine Payer forcing the error from Italy's Elisa Caffont. So Payer books herself a place in the quarterfinals. Let's see where things went wrong. Just a little bit too much weight over the heel side edge there. And she touches down over some bumps in the course. Like I was saying, the conditions generally pretty warm here in Krynica. So the course is rutting up. Not as badly as some of the riders had feared, but still a factor. Those rut lines making for tricky conditions perhaps today. Cheyenne Locke of Germany on the red course. Aurélie Moisan of Canada now on red. Both riders pretty evenly matched at the intermediate split. 0.27 of a second separating the two. The Canadian with the upper hand by a small margin. The position is reversed by 0.08 of a second at the second split, so good riding from Locke, the German. It's going to be tight. A photo finish on the cards for this heat. Only 0.09 of a second separating the two, but it is Cheyenne Locke who has the upper hand by probably less than half a board's length. But that is enough to get her through to today's quarterfinals.
Ready? Blue course, ready? Attention.
Now, the former tour leader Tsubaki Miki rides now on the blue course for Japan against Melanie Hochreiter of Germany on the red course. Miki Tsubaki was leading the standings coming into yesterday's race, but didn't make it through to the final. And that allowed Ramona Hofmeister to move into the lead on the standings points race. Tsubaki in second place, not far behind Hofmeister on the points. So she's riding well on the blue course. certainly has the upper hand against Hofmeister's teammate Melanie Hochreiter. 0.33 of a second faster. Tsubaki Miki is through. It looks like she has every intention of pushing Ramona Hofmeister all the way to the race, to the Crystal Globe today, and that World Cup Tour title. So looks like we could be in for a bit of a grudge match today between Japan and Germany, between Tsubaki Miki, who looks very much in form there. And we'll see how Ramona Hofmeister shapes up in the next couple of heats. So Miki's challenge is still alive. On to the next heat. Milena Zamfirova of Bulgaria meets Michelle Dekker of the Netherlands. Dekker, let's not forget, finished in second place yesterday. Her best result of the season. She was riding in solid, fast form all day. And at the intermediate split, she is 0.22 of a second up on the Bulgarian. So Michelle Dekker on day 2 here in Krynica, once again in great form. Banking hard, but too hard, and out she goes, loses that edge. That is a disappointment. It did look like she was just taking a few risks. She had the upper hand in the race, and just as I was saying that she was banking very hard, well, she banked a little too hard on that toe side edge. The edge of the board lost grip on the snow, and down she went. That is a bit of disappointment for yesterday's silver medalist. What a shame for Team Netherlands. Dekker was in great form yesterday and riding well through the qualifications today. She's still smiling after that disappointment there as she exits the competition. Now then, back up top for Anna-Marie Dansha of Ukraine versus Jasmine Karate of Italy. Dansha on the red course as we jump into that high flying drone shot there. Karate on the blue course, Dansha for Ukraine on the red, and we pop in behind the riders at the midway point. Both going well. At the second split, Karate, the Italian, down by 0.28 of a second. She closes the gap, but not by enough. 0.14 of a second separating the two. Anna-Marie Dansha is through to the quarterfinals for Ukraine. Now the next heat will be a big one. Ramona Hofmeister, the German legend, to race next. She is leading the standings after her win yesterday. That was her third win in a row as well, let's not forget. And here she goes, racing on the blue course, looking for her 6th parallel giant slalom World Cup Tour victory. But she'll need to be in good form today. We've already seen the Japanese racer Tsubaki Miki looking in good form. And Miki will be challenging and pushing Ramona all the way. Problems for Julie Zog of Switzerland, a little bit of instability. She's made a good recovery, but that looks like it's probably handed control of the race to the German at this stage. Julie Zog, an incredibly experienced World Cup racer for Switzerland, pushing Hofmeister all the way to the line. Hofmeister needs to stay in this race. Has to stay in the race. Oh, it's a close finish. Only 0.07 of a second in it. Julie Zog almost pushed Hofmeister out of the race altogether. Closing the gap on the German in the second half of the course. That was the wobble from Julie Zog. She made an incredible recovery, though, to close the gap back up on the World Cup Tour leader, Ramona Hofmeister. And some nervous moments for the Germans, I think, there, as Zog was carrying a lot of speed in that bottom section of the course. If she'd knocked Hofmeister out of the competition at this point, that would have been something of an upset. But for now, she stays in the race. Only by 7/100ths of a second, but she is through to the quarterfinals. Back up top, Ladina Kvitzel from Switzerland versus Susanna Madarova of the Czech Republic. Madarova on the red course. Kvitzel of Switzerland on the blue course. This the last of the round of 8. Madarova, Kvitzel, 0.36 of a second separating the two. Madarova with control of this last race in this particular round. And around the last 2 gates across the line, it's a solid finish for Susanna Madarova as she books herself a place in that quarterfinals. So that concludes the first round of 8. 16 women will now be cut down to 8 for those quarterfinals. We'll get another look at the how those quarterfinals line up in just a moment. But a good finish to that round for Zuzana Madarova of the Czech Republic. So let's see how these quarters line up. Dalmazo versus Paya in quarter number 1. Loch versus Mickey in quarterfinal number 2. And we need to keep our eyes on Mickey because she may be the racer who denies Hofmeister that crystal globe today. It looks like it's going to go all the way to the wire. Quarterfinal number 3. Milena Zamfarova versus Anna-Marie Danscher, and quarterfinal number 4 will be Ramona Hofmeister versus Susanna Madarova. The men will take to the course next for their round of 8. 16 men going head to head. Sang-Ho Lee is in there for Korea, and he'll be racing in the first heat against Canadian Arnaud Gaudet. So here we go, Sang-Ho Lee versus Arnaud Gaudet. Gaudet, the Canadian, on the red course, the Korean on the blue. Now Sang-Ho Lee on the blue course here had the race of his life yesterday, finished up in 2nd place. Best result of his career. And the rider very much in form. That got him up into 15th place on the World Cup points standings board out of virtually nowhere, and it looks very much like he's in form today. On the blue course, he's 0.35 of the second up on the Canadian. At the second split, Sang-Ho Lee came out of nowhere yesterday to clinch that silver medal behind Italy's Roland Kishnala, and he has now bagged himself a place in the quarterfinals. Sang-Ho Lee for Korea, in form on day 2 as he was in day 1 here in Poland. So good racing from him. Next up, Austria versus Korea. Matthias Pink for Austria on the red course. Sang-Kyum Kim for Korea on blue. Fastest from each of these heats to progress through to the quarterfinals. 16 men to be cut down 2-8 as we move through the elimination rounds towards the last final of the year in the Parallel Giant Slalom World Cup Tour. Like I say, we still have World Championships to look forward to in the second half of March in Engadin, Switzerland. And the riders now on absolute top form as they approach the end of the World Cup Tour and look towards those World Championships. 700ths of a second separating the two men on round 2 there. And the Koreans are in good form today. Sang-Hyun Kim going through to the quarterfinals, knocking Austria's Matthias Pink out of the running there. Back up top, Italy versus Austria. Daniel Pagosa for Italy on the red course. Alexander Peyer for Austria on the blue. And it is the Italian who leads at the first split. Both courses pretty well evenly matched here in Krynica. Very well prepared course. There were a lot of worries about the slightly warm conditions, perhaps making the snow soft and more rutted as they move through the competition. But yesterday the going was better than had been expected. And I think it's perhaps better again today, with the slightly overcast conditions, meaning that there's no direct sunlight on the snow, or not much anyway. So conditions pretty good for this last parallel giant slalom race of the World Cup season for 2025. This is the 12th World Cup race of the year for parallel giant slalom. So the racers in good form as they look towards those World Championships over the next few weeks. And Maurizio Vermellini now gets to race on the red course for Italy. He's wearing the yellow tour leader's vest. He is the tour leader, and yesterday he managed to get enough World Cup points to secure the Crystal Globe and the World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom crown for 2025. So he's enjoying the running today, enjoying the racing, knowing that he is this year's World Cup champion. There he is on the red course against Ben Heldman of Canada. The Italian 0.28 of a second up at the second split. Down goes the Canadian, losing an edge. Can't quite match the speed of Maurizio Vermellini. It's a good start to the final rounds for this year's World Cup champion. So Maurizio Vermellini of Italy looking quite relaxed today, understandably so, knowing that the World Cup crown is his as a consequence of his third place finish yesterday. Now a big name in parallel giant slalom racing, Zan Kozia for Slovenia races on the blue course. Mirko Felicetti of Italy on the red. Felicetti has the better start and is ahead at the first intermediate split by 0.36 of a second. Zan Kozia. He's over 40. I think he's about 41 years old at the moment, Zan Kozia. He's been racing for many, many years, obviously carrying a lot of experience and still looking good, making it through to this part of the competition. Perhaps not quite matching the speed of some of the younger racers, but putting his many, many years of experience to good use, closing the gap on the Italian in the closing stages there, but not quite doing enough. Zan Kozier, 500ths of a second down and exiting the competition at this point, but great to see him racing after, still racing after such a superb career. I think there's only one racer that's perhaps a little older and more experienced than Kozier, and that's Rowan Fishnala. Fishnala won at yesterday's competition, but hasn't made it through the qualifications to this section, unfortunately, today. So you won't be seeing yesterday's winner in today's final, that's for sure. On course now. Turval Zamfarov on the red course for Bulgaria. Aaron March of Italy on the blue course. Zamfarov, the Bulgarian, with the upper hand. At the second split, not much in it though. 0.12 of a second only. It's going to be a race to the line. Which way will it go? Well, the Bulgarian manages to hold on to that advantage, crossing the line in the lead there and moving on to those quarterfinals. Two races left in this first round of 8. Next up we're going to see Andreas Promiger, another well-seasoned World Cup campaigner on the parallel tours, against Germany's Elias Hubert.
Blue course, ready. Attention.
So the German, Elias Huber, on the red course, right of camera now. Andreas Promega for Austria, one of the real greats of parallel snowboard racing. Again, along with the likes of Zan Kozier and Roland Fishnala, has been competing for many, many years. Topped out a lot of World Cup podiums in his time, and has control of the race at the second intermediate split. Well ahead of the Italian, Andreas Promiger, looking good. He's had a bit of an up and down season, has Promiger. He's in 4th place on the standings coming into day 2 here in Krynica. Was the winner. He had one win, and that was in Bansko in Bulgaria back in mid-January. So his fortunes have been a little bit up and down. But Promiger, along with Roland Fishnala, another racer in his mid-40s and still going well. Great to see him racing. And also getting himself through today to those quarterfinals. So Promiger, once again, moved through to a quarterfinal with one round now remaining in this first round of 8. Edwin Karate of Italy, we saw his sister ride in the women's competition, versus Tim Mastnak of Slovenia on the red course. And it's Mastnak who looks like he's had the better of the starts. At the first split, he's 0.08 of a second up from the Italian. Nice rhythm from both riders. Not much in it. It's going to be another race to the line. This is where we've seen 1 or 2 errors in the earlier rounds of the competition, but both going through clear here as they duck for the line. The Italian closing the gap on the Slovenian, but just being edged out of the competition by 0.02 of a second. Karate in third place on the standings going into this competition, and that'll be a disappointment for the Italian team. They were in such great form yesterday, but a couple of big names on the Italian team have already gone out in these first rounds. So Masnak for Slovenia, all smiles as he gets himself through to those quarters. So that's how it lines up. Yesterday's silver medalist Lee of Korea to race against his teammate in the first quarter, and then it'll be Italy in quarterfinal number 2. Italy-Bulgaria, Felicetti Zamfarov in quarter 3, and Promaga will take on Masnak in quarterfinal number 4. Women's quarterfinals next to run. So looking for places in the semi-finals now as we move through these elimination rounds on day 2 here in Krynica in Poland. In the gate up top, ready to go for the first of the quarterfinals. Sabina Pea of Austria takes on Lucia Dalmaza of Italy. Looking for a place in the semi-finals. Here they go. Dalmazo, the Italian, on the red course, 900 of a second down. She made it through all the way to the small finals yesterday, finishing up in 4th place overall. So, like a lot of the Italians, on form. She's closing the gap on the Austrian a little at that second split. So the Italian pushing Pea, the Austrian, all the way to the line. And the positions reverse over the last 3 or 4 gates there. Brilliant racing from Lucia Dalmazo as she snatches victory away from Sabina Pea of Austria. About 3 gates away from the finish line there. Exciting stuff and a determined display of Alpine snowboard racing from Italy's Lucia Dalmazo there, off the back of her 4th place finish yesterday. Good racer. She's had 1 win this season, back at the beginning of the year in China, back in December. Has had a bit of a sketchy season since then, it has to be said, but is coming back into form now towards the end of the season. Cheyenne Lock for Germany races on the blue course now against Tsubaki Miki. Now, this is where the story could develop. Tsubaki Miki. Yesterday, she was the leader of the tour standings. Didn't do so well in yesterday's race and slipped down into 2nd place. And that saw Ramona Hofmeister get control of the standings race. But here goes Miki now for Japan on the red course. Looking to stay in the competition and looking to challenge Ramona Hofmeister for that crystal globe today. Now, at the moment, against Cheyenne Loch, Hofmeister's teammate, Tsubaki, making easy work of that one as she books her place in those semi-finals. As this story looks like it is going to develop. So, Tsubaki Miki for Japan. She's been on the podium for pretty much all of the World Cups this season. She's only had 1 win. It was in Rogla at the end of January in Slovenia. But, largely speaking, she's been in the top 4 or 5 finishes right across the year. And like I say, came into yesterday's race as the leader of the tour standings. It was just surpassed by Ramona Hofmeister. We'll get to see Hofmeister ride in the next heat. She also needs to stay in this race. For now, though, It is Bulgaria versus Ukraine. Milena Zamfarova of Bulgaria on the blue course. Anna-Marie Dansha of Ukraine on the red. And the course organisers will be very pleased at the way the courses are riding today. Both red and blue courses very evenly matched. It can be a bit of an issue in the parallel events when you get disparities between the two courses, one running a little faster than the other. But here in Krynica in Poland, it has not been the case. The course running very well today. So Zamfarova of Bulgaria controlling that heat and knocking Ukraine's Anna-Marie Dansha out of the competition as she moves through to those quarterfinals. Now the big one, quarterfinal number 4, Ramona Teresa Hofmeister rides next against Zuzana Madarova of the Czech Republic. On paper, that shouldn't be too much of a problem for Hofmeister. 5 times in the past she has won the PGS Crystal Globe. She's going for her 6th today, but she needs to stay in this race. And I wonder whether it will go to be a head-to-head race-off for that Crystal Globe between her and Miki Tsubaki in the final today. Let's see. She can't afford to make any mistakes. She's racing now. There she is, Hofmeister on the blue course against Zuzana Madarova. Madarova, something of an outsider, down in 14th place on the standings. So, like I say, on paper, shouldn't be too much of a challenge for Hofmeister, but she certainly can't afford to make any mistakes. And already she's down at the first split. This is an upset for Hofmeister. She needs to turn the performance on now if she wants to stay in this race. Oh, and there she goes, a mistake from the Czech rider, Zuzana Madarova. She had the upper hand. She was really rumbling, the German. But she loses an edge and goes out of the race. And Ramona Hofmeister's hopes of securing her 6th Crystal Globe win remain alive for now. Nervous moments, though, for the German, as Zuzana Madarova certainly got the better of her in the first half of that course. Looks like she's taken a little bit of a knock, though, when she went down. Let's hope she's okay. The course supervisors attending her now. Looks like she's definitely knocked the wind out of herself. I think she's okay, just taking her time. Obviously travelling at speed. Let's see where things went wrong, but these were nervous moments for Hofmeister. That is where things went wrong, and that's where she took the hit. She went down on the toe side edge, but then got flipped over on the heel side and gave her chest a bit of a whack. So I think she's probably just winded herself and hopefully hasn't received any injuries. There it is, that trip over the back. Bang, down she goes. I think she's going to be able to take a little bit of a knock to the head and taking her time to get back up on her feet. Concern from the 5 times PGS champion, Ramona Hofmeister. But also, I suspect, a slight sigh of relief. She was almost knocked out of the competition by Madarova there. And thankfully, it looks like Madarova's okay. So, exciting times here on day 2 in Krynica. And for now, Hofmeister stays in the race. So does Miki. So that's how the semi-finals line up. Dalmazo versus Miki, Zamfarova versus Hofmeister. I wonder whether we are going to see a head-to-head race between Tsubaki, Miki and Ramona Hofmeister. There are only 9 points separating them at the top of the leaderboard. And the men are underway, wasting no time getting their quarterfinals underway. like I say, that women's race looking like it is going to be something of a grudge match. I say only 9 points separating the two. On course now, though, we have Korea versus Korea. And unfortunately, yesterday's silver medalist, Sang-ho Lee, is pushed out of the competition by Sang-kyum Kim, his teammate. 0.15 of a second separating the two. Sang-ho Lee, I mean, it is a bit of a shame. He was riding so well yesterday. He's riding well today, making it through to the quarters. But he's taken his teammate, Sang-kyum Kim, with him. And I suspect that's possibly not the way the playbook was supposed to play out there. Yesterday's silver medalist ejected from the competition by his teammate, Sang-kyum Kim. He'll be pleased as he books his place in the semi-finals, and that'll be one of the best results for him all season. Now, Daniel Pagosa versus Maurizio Bermolini. Italy versus Italy. In this men's competition, Bermolini, the tour leader and tour champion, in fact, on the red course, will be awarded his Crystal Globe later today, regardless of where he finishes today. But at the moment, he is riding well, with the upper hand against his teammate, Daniel Pagosa. 0.15 of a second, now 0.16 of a second, separating the two Italians. Bermolini, the World Cup champion for 2025, further extending his lead on that heat, booking himself a place in the semi-finals. Only managed third place yesterday, did Bermolini. That was enough to secure him, though. Enough points to be given the World Cup title. And he's on form once again here for day two. Bulgaria versus Italy. The Italian men have been in fierce form all weekend here in Krynica. Here, Mirko Felicetti for the Italian team. Races on the red course, gets the better of the starts against Tervel Zamfirov of Bulgaria. At the first split, 0.17 of a second separating them. The Italian men in great form in this late part of the season as we look towards those World Championships towards the end of March. And of course, the Olympic Games next year in Italy. But there's an upset there. An upset for the Italian, Mirko Felicetti, making mistakes. Zamfirov of Bulgaria seizes the opportunity, comes through and knocks the Italian out of the racing. What a shame. It was a great start for Felicetti, but some instability. He hit some ruts on that midsection, really had to fight for it, but checked on that heel-side edge there. He will have lost a lot of speed and momentum in doing that, and he couldn't recover. The Bulgarian saw the opportunity. Zamfirov is through to the semi-finals. Last of the quarterfinals then for the men now to run. Andreas Promega of Austria takes on Tim Mastnak of Slovenia. Promega on the blue course, Mastnak on red. Pretty even match for both riders. I think Promega perhaps had the better of the starts. Yes, he did, but not much in it. Pretty much exactly neck and neck as Tim Mastnak pushes Andreas Promega, the most experienced of the Austrians. A man with an absolutely superb World Cup, Olympic and World Championship record to his name. Still going strong after all these years, and managing to dispatch Slovenia's Tim Mastnak along the way. Promega, one of the old campaigners of Alpine snowboard racing, is through to another semi-final.
Półfinały pań to jest najlepsza czwórka dzisiejszych zawodów. Przypomnę tylko o zasadach głównych.
Great racing, superb rhythm, edge-to-edge control from the Austrian. A masterclass in carving from Andreas Promega there. So that concludes the men's quarterfinals, and that's how things line up. Korea versus Italy in semi number 1, Kim versus Bormolini, and then it'll be Zamfarov versus Promega in semi number 2. Mauro Bormolini through to those semi-finals, as he was yesterday, and riding high after clinching the World Cup crown yesterday. The women's race to take back to the course in a few moments' time for their semi-finals. Lucia Dalmaso meets Tsubaki Miki in the first of those women's semi-finals, and the big question is, can Tsubaki Miki stay in the race long enough to deny Germany's Ramona Hofmeister a chance at securing her 6th FIS Crystal Globe for parallel giant slalom? The next race will tell us. Miki needs to stay in the race. She'll be up against Italy's Lucia Dalmaso. The Italian team, we know, are in good form. Dalmaso is in good form. She finished yesterday's race in 4th place, and she'll be in the top 4 today. She's through to those semi-finals, but which way will it line up as they look now for a place in the finals? Who will the final race off for gold be today? The race for the women's PGS Crystal Globe going right the way to the very end of the season. The sun's starting to come out now onto the course. Like I say, I think the riders and course organisers will have been quite thankful for the cloud layer that came over for most of the early rounds there, just to protect the snow on that course just that little bit, as we now go down to the wire. 4 women and 4 men remaining in this competition. The last competition of the year on the parallel giant slalom tour for 2025 here in Krynica, Poland. Day 2 of what has been a superb weekend of Alpine snowboard racing so far. And semi number 1, the big question: can Lucia Dalmaso of Italy deny Tsubaki Miki of Japan the chance to keep the Crystal Globe out of Ramona Hofmeister's hands? Let's see. There's just over a kilometre of racing on this course. Dalmaso for Italy on blue, Miki is on red. Nervous moments for the Japanese number 1. She slipped from tour lead into 2nd place as a consequence of not making later rounds yesterday. Hofmeister got the win in the end, but there's only 9 points separating the two on the points leaderboard. And Lucia Dalmaso, yesterday's 4th place finisher, will be going out of her way to eject Tsubaki Miki from the competition, and there is a mistake from the Japanese number 1, a mistake from the Italian straight after it as well. This still could be anybody's race. One mistake follows the other, and it's going to go right to the line. It looked like it was all over for the Japanese number 1, Miki Tsubaki, but she realised that just after she'd made her mistake, Dalmazo also made a mistake, and her hopes were still alive. She got herself back together and crossed the line, and she books herself a place in the final. There's where things went wrong for Miki, getting caught in the ruts there, getting bounced around and touching down. But seconds later, the same fate was met by Dalmazo on the blue course. Miki seized the opportunity. It looked like she'd almost given up when she went down there, but she realised that hopes were still alive. And fair play to her. She got across the line, and that looks like rather a relieved smile on her face at the bottom of the course. Now, Milena Zamfarova of Bulgaria meets Ramona Hofmeister of Germany. Zamfarova on red, Hofmeister on blue. Hofmeister, the tour leader. Will we see a Hofmeister-Miki final today? The next few moments will tell us that. Well, it looks like Zamfarova got the better of the starts. Once again, nervous moments for Hofmeister. She's 0.23 of a second down. Could Zamfarova, something of an outsider really, could she deny Hofmeister the Crystal Globe today? Hofmeister's got her work cut out. She's closing the gap, but will she be able to do it? Will she be able to get across that line ahead? She needs to do this to stay in the race. It's going to go to a photo finish. Hofmeister, the tour leader, could be out. Which way does it go? And she is out. That is a big upset for Ramona Hofmeister. 0.27 of a second down. Milena Zamfarova of Bulgaria, the upsetter in this situation. She got the better of the starts, and although Hofmeister managed to close the gap, she couldn't catch the Bulgarian, and she will not have a place in the final. So, time to do some calculations here. Which way could this go? There are only 9 points separating the two. Miki, 9 points only behind Hofmeister in the lead, in the race for the Crystal Globe today. It's going to be close. It is going to be close. I can say that much for sure. So Zamfarova is through, and we can see the disappointment in the body language of German legend Ramona Hofmeister as she gets pushed out and into the small final, where she will race Lucia Dalmazo of Italy. And it looks like there's every possibility that there could be a switch in the top two of that leaderboard once again today, and that would be a desperate disappointment for Ramona Hofmeister. Exciting times then in that women's competition. The men to race again now in their semi-finals. Korea versus Italy in semi-1. Sang-Hyun Kim, the Korean, on the red course. And the World Cup Tour champion, Maurizio Bermolini for Italy on the blue. Only 4 men remaining in the competition. Which of them will make it through to the final? The winner of this semi will be one of them. Looks like Bermolini had the better of the starts. 0.24 up on the Korea at the first split. Nice rhythm from Mauro Bermolini. Enjoying his riding today. Safe in the knowledge that the Crystal Globe and the World Cup title is his. And look at that, what a superb display of rhythm and carving from Maurizio Bermolini as he dispatches Sang-Hyun Kim with ease and puts himself a place in today's final. Would be great for him to finish off the year with a win. He only managed third place yesterday, did Bermolini. He's had 2 wins earlier on in the season, and it would be great for him to finish off the World Cup Tour with a win today. And it looks, by the way he's riding, as though he has every intention of doing so. Semi-final number 2 then, Andreas Promega for Austria.
Blue course, ready?
Racing on the red course, Tervel Zamfirov, Bulgaria on blue. Looks like the younger man, Tervel Zamfirov, had the quicker of the reaction times out of the gate. He's 0.22 of a second up on the Austrian at the first split. Tervel Zamfirov, a youngster, punching well above his weight here against one of the greats of Alpine snowboarding, Andreas Promega. Oh, nervous moments for Zamfirov there. A little bit of instability. Goes to a photo finish. Promega just sat on the tail of the Bulgarian and waited for the mistakes to come, which they did. Promega, one of the most experienced men in the game. And that is a photo finish to decide who goes through to the final. There is Zamfirov. He certainly had control of the heat in the top section, but there was a mistake about 3 or 4 gates from the finish line. A bit of instability came in. There it was. He almost came off his board there. And there's the photo. Well, I don't know. Which way is it going to go? You decide. Somebody should decide. I can't quite see it. There's a fingernail's length only in it. It looks like it's possibly Promega on the red course, but like I say, only a fingernail in it, and there, confirmation of that photo finish. Andreas Promega snatching a place in the final by the very smallest of margins, on the line by, I don't know, perhaps a centimetre in that? Maybe 2 centimetres. Anyway, he is through to the final. Andreas Promega, where he will race off for gold against Italy's Maurizio Bermolini. And there, you can almost sense the disappointment and nerves from Ramona Hofmeister, who has not made the final today. She'll have to race off for the bronze medal in the women's small final. So if she wins that small final, she'll get 60 points. If Miki for Japan loses the final, she'll come in second place. So she still gets 80 points, even if she loses the final. 60 points versus 80, 20 points. That means that whatever happens here, Miki is going to get 20 points more than Hofmeister at the very worst. And as I mentioned earlier, there were only 9 points separating the two at the top of the points board. So that slightly disappointed body language that we just saw from Ramona Hofmeister. Confirmation that she, I think, has lost the World Cup crown for this year to this woman. Tsubaki Miki of Japan. Certainly good to see the points race going right to the last rounds of the last World Cup competition for the Parallel Giant Slalom Tour. But undoubted disappointment for Ramona Hofmeister. 5 times in the past she has won the World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom crown. But as a consequence of being knocked out in those semi-finals just a few moments ago, she won't, unfortunately, be doing it for a 6th time.
Lucia Dalmaso na trasie czerwonej i Ramona Teresia Hofmeister na trasie niebieskiej.
She still does, of course, have the World Championships to look forward to in Engadine, Switzerland in the second half of March. But the disappointment today is palpable.
Tak, to są mieć ostatnie ćwiczenia oddechowe, aktywacja tej adrenaliny przed startem i już za chwilę jedziemy po brązowy medal Pucharu Świata.
So the race off then for the bronze medal here on day 2 in Krynica, Poland. The legend, Ramona Hofmeister, versus Italy's Lucia
Ready. Blue course, ready. Attention.
Dalmaso. Dalmaso on the red course. Hofmeister on the blue. Racing now for the bronze medal. And Hofmeister forces the error from Lucia Dalmaso, the Italian not managing to match the speed of the German in her last World Cup run of the season. Dalmaso pushed just a little too hard in that race off for the bronze medal. And the win in that small finals means that third place and the bronze medal is secured by the German legend, Ramona Hofmeister. That's the moment where the edge lost contact with the snow. Lucia just hitting those ruts there. You can see the board just got popped out of that rut as she was banking hard on that toe side edge. And out she goes, handing the bronze medal to Hofmeister. So on then to the men's final rounds. Sorry, the women's, I should say. We've still got the gold medal to be decided, of course. Milena Zamfarova for Bulgaria will be racing. The Japanese number 1, Tsubaki Miki. Miki on 704 points. So whatever happens now, the Crystal Globe will end up being hers. I'd love to secure that Crystal Globe, of course, with a win. That goes without saying. She was a little inconsistent yesterday, racing much better today. And on paper, she shouldn't have too much trouble with this. Here then, the race for day 2 gold in the women's competition. Japan versus Bulgaria. Miki on the red course, looking good. She'd love to finish the year with a win. And it looks like she has every intention of doing that. She's well up on Zamfarova at the second split. Cruising through the last few gates of the course to claim gold medal today by 0.43 of a second. And that is a gold medal for Japan, a gold medal for Tsubaki Miki. It also means that with those 100 points that she will be awarded for that win, she also secures the World Cup crown and will be awarded the FIS Crystal Globe a little later today. An exciting finish in the women's Alpine Tour.
To zwycięstwo może dużo namieszać w klasyfikacji generalnej w tych złotych kulach, ale w tych kryształowych kulach, które już za chwilę będziemy
So Ramona Hofmeister still allowing herself a smile, taking defeat in good grace today as Tsubaki Miki claims the gold medal and the World Cup crown. Milena Zamfarova, great result for her, best result of the season. Second place for her today, and a disappointing third place for Ramona Hofmeister.
Jeszcze chwila i jeszcze moment i za chwilę będziemy wiedzieć, kto będzie brązowym medalistą dzisiejszych zawodów na Jaworzynie Krynicy.
Tsubaki, what a day, what a race. Tell us, how does it feel? Yesterday you were struggling a little bit, but today you push it till the end to the first place. Tell us, how was the race through your eyes?
Yeah, I'm so excited now. Yesterday night, I decided today I will win, so I'm so happy now. Then I'm so glad to fight with new cars, and yeah, and the crystal gold is also. I don't have a word.
You're speechless. Hey, congrats again, also for both globes. Thank you.
Thank you.
A na trasie niebieskiej Sam Hyun-Ki ma już za chwilę wszystko.
Delight then for
Głośny doping dla naszych zawodników.
Team Japan as Tsubaki Miki secures the Crystal Globe in the parallel giant slalom standings on day 2. The turn of the men next. Now then, Sang-Young Kim takes on Turvel Zanfarov. Korea versus Bulgaria. In the small final, the race-off for bronze medal today. Zanfarov on the red course, Kim for Korea on the blue. Well, it's a pretty close match at the intermediate splits. Only 600th of a second in it between the two. Zanfarov, the faster of the two men at the moment. Sang-Young Kim punching above his weight today. Whichever way this works out, it'll be a great result for both riders to be in the top 4 today. And the man who finishes on top in that small final, Sang-Young Kim for Korea. Bronze medal will be his today. That one of the best results of his career. He actually had a pretty good start to the season right out the gates in World Cup #1, where he went one better than he did today. He got a silver medal at World Cup #1 this season in China. He's had a real run of bad luck in the last 5 or 6 World Cup competitions. Didn't ride particularly well yesterday either, but has secured the bronze medal today. A nice finish to the season for him, as the last race of the day is about to run. The men's race-off for gold today. Mauro Bermolini, the World Cup Tour champion for 2025 in parallel giant slalom, racing against Andreas Promiga of Austria. Both men highly experienced, both of them no strangers to World Cup podiums. Promiga will push the World Cup champion all the way to the wire on this one, I'm sure. Promiga on the red course, Bormolini, the Italian, on the blue, and it's Bormolini who gets the better of the starts. And at the first split, where is he? 0.39 of a second ahead of Promiga. Nice riding from Italy's Maurizio Bermolini. He would love to finish the season with a win. He's already secured the World Cup crown, but what a way to finish it off if he could get a win. He's being pushed hard by the Austrian as he closes the gap in the closing moments and snatches it away from him. Andreas Promiga came out of nowhere to deny the Italian the win in the last race of the season. Well, it'll be bittersweet, I suppose. Maurizio has secured the World Cup crown. He'll be relatively happy with second place, but I don't think he saw that one coming. He was almost half a second ahead at the midway point. And some amazing riding from Andreas Promiga there in the bottom section, the flatter part of the course. He was all over the place. He felt like he had nothing to lose, I guess. He certainly went for it. And he snatched victory away from Mauro in the closing moments of that race. An exciting conclusion to day 2. So Promiga secures the gold medal ahead of Maurizio Bermolini of Italy. And Sang-Yoon Kim back on the podium for the first time since November. In third place today. 100 points going the way of Promiga. That could pull him up. I think it will pull him up into the top 3 in actual fact on the standings World Cup points leaderboard. And those 80 points that go to Maurizio Bermolini not really making any particular difference to the fact that he yesterday secured the World Cup title, and in a few moments will be awarded with that FIS Crystal Globe Parallel Giant Slalom. Let's hear from Promiga.
In the PGS discipline, strong final against Mauro. It was difficult a little bit, huh?
Everything was difficult today. First of all, we have to say thank you for those great races. Beautiful weather, very nice slope. I didn't expect this slope, and it was tough, powerful riding, especially in the finals. Against Bormo, it's always tough. You have to give everything. I'm very tired, but so happy.
Thanks, Andy, and congrats.
A great finish to the season for the old campaigner, Andreas Promiga of Austria, with a win today. And that's how it lined up in the women's competition. Tsubaki Miki winning with Zamfarova Milena in second place. And a rather disappointed Ramona Hofmeister receiving 60 points for that third place finish, as opposed to Tsubaki Miki's 100 points. And as they went in to day 2 here in Krynica, there was only 9 points separating the two. Miki went into yesterday's competition in the lead. The positions changed, and Ramona won yesterday's competition, got herself into the lead on the standings. But she needed to finish today's race ahead of Tsubaki Miki to secure the Crystal Globe, and unfortunately for the German, that did not happen. It certainly made for an exciting conclusion to the Alpine Tour, and that is how the points stack up. 804 points give Tsubaki Miki the World Cup crown. Ramona Hofmeister having to settle for second place this year. And this is how things stacked up in the men's competition. Andreas Promiga denying Maurizio Bermolini a win at the end of the season, which makes the points list look like this. 100 points to Promiga for the win. Bermolini takes second, 80 points for him, and Sang-Yoon Kim, 60 points for that third place finish today. And let's see where that puts Promiger. He was in 4th after yesterday's racing on the overall PGS standings leaderboard. Let's see whether those 100 points have pulled him up into the top 3. I think they may well have done. Benjamin Carl, Olympic champion, down in 22nd place, not having the best of seasons, but holding out for the World Championships in Engadine at the end of the month. And Andries Promiger does indeed get himself up into the top 3. 2nd place, a great finish to the season for the Austrian campaigner. Bormolini, we knew, was already the World Cup champion. So a good finish to the year for those two guys. And 3rd place on those World Cup standings for Radislav Yankov of Bulgaria, who we didn't see in the later rounds today. He slips down into 3rd place. Still a good result for him. And unfortunately, we didn't see him racing today. So a great finish to the PGS Tour for 2025. Let's take a look back now at some of the highlights of today's racing ahead of the prize-giving ceremonies. So the PGS World Cup concludes then on day 2 here in Krynica, Poland. There is still more Alpine snowboard racing to come for the FIS World Cup Tour, but that will be a parallel slalom event to take place in Germany next weekend. The big championship event of the year, of course, the World Championships to be run in Engadine in Switzerland in the last 2 weeks of this month of March. Freestyle skiing and snowboarding combining in one of Switzerland's most beautiful valleys, the Engadine and St. Moritz. And some amazing action to look forward to in those World Championships across multiple disciplines of freestyle skiing and snowboarding. So these athletes will be in action there again. Racing parallel giant slalom as well as parallel slalom. But today's race, the parallel giant slalom, of course, the Olympic discipline. These athletes keenly focused on next year's Olympic Winter Games, hosted by Milan Cortina, the Olympic Winter Games 2026. And those World Championships to take place in Engadine, of course, will be where the form book is written ahead of those Olympic Winter Games. So plenty of action still to come in this season. But today, it is now time for the prize-giving ceremony. The ceremony that will conclude the parallel giant slalom tour for the Alpine snowboarders. And that prize-giving event to take place at the bottom of the slope here in Krynica in a few moments. So a few moments of relaxation before the last PGS prize-giving ceremony of the year. But we'll first of all see the awards handed out for today's race. The medal ceremony for today's race, but also the FIS Crystal Globes for parallel giant slalom Alpine Snowboard racing to be awarded today. Also, as these 2 days here in Krynica in Poland have concluded the parallel giant slalom tour for this World Cup year. So over to the event commentator now for the medal ceremony for today's racing.
Czekamy dosłownie na ostatnie wyniki i już za chwilę będziemy wyłaniać zwycięzców, będziemy rozdawać medale i oczywiście przejdziemy później do kryształowych kul. Panie i panowie, zapraszamy do dekoracji Pucharu Świata w slalomie gigancie równoległym kobiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the winners presentation of today's Women's Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom held in Krynica, Poland.
Zapraszamy dzisiejsze triumfatorki. Na miejscu trzecim reprezentantka Niemiec Ramona Theresia Hofmeister.
In third place, representing Germany, Ramona Theresia Hofmeister.
Na miejscu drugim Malena Zamfirowa, reprezentantka Bułgarii.
In second place, representing Bulgaria, Malena Zamfirova.
A na pierwszym miejscu reprezentantka Japonii Tsubaki Miki.
And in first place, representing Japan, Tsubaki Miki.
Nasze triumfatorki udekorują Piotr Ryba, burmistrz miasta i gminy Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, członek zarządu Jaworzyny Krynickiej oraz Adam Małysz, prezes Polskiego Związku Narciarskiego.
Today's awards are being handed in by Piotr Ryba, Mayor of Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, Board Member by Jaworzyna Krynicka, Adam Małysz, President of Polish Ski Association.
By uhonorować dzisiejszą triumfatorkę Tsubaki Miki tych zawodów, poprosimy o hymn narodowy Japonii.
In honor of the winner, we will now play the national anthem of Japan.
Panie i panowie, bardzo dziękuję za wasze uczestnictwo w ceremonii rozdania nagród w gigancie równoległym kobiet Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the Women's Award ceremony of today's Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom.
Panie i panowie, zostańcie z wami, albowiem już teraz dekoracja mężczyzn slalomu giganta równoległego vis-a-vis World Cup.
Now please welcome the winners of today's men's visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom in Krynica, Poland.
Zapraszamy dzisiejszych triumfatorów zawodu w gigancie równoległym vis-a-vis Snowboard World Cup. Na miejscu trzecim reprezentant Korei Sang-kyun Kim.
In third place representing South Korea, Sang-kyun Kim.
Na miejscu drugim reprezentujący Włochy Maurizio Bormolini.
In second place representing Italy, Maurizio Bormolini.
A na miejscu pierwszym reprezentant Austrii Andreas Promeger.
And in first place, the winner representing Austria, Andreas Promeger.
Nagrody dzisiejszych zawodów rozdadzą Piotr Ryba, burmistrz miasta i gminy Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, członek zarządu Jaworzyny Krynickiej oraz Adam Małysz, prezes Polskiego Związku Narciarskiego.
Today's awards are being handed in by Piotr Ryba, Mayor of Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, Board Member of Jaworzyna Krynicka, Adam Małysz, President of Polish Ski Association.
By uhonorować naszego dzisiejszego triumfatora, odsłuchamy teraz hymnu narodowego Austrii.
In honor of the winner, we will now play the national anthem of Austria.
Dziękujemy bardzo za Państwa dzisiejszą obecność na ceremonii dekoracji. Jeszcze raz bardzo serdecznie gratuluję dzisiejszym triumfatorom, a już za chwilę przechodzimy do rozdania kryształowych kul, które zakończą ten sezon 2024-2025 w slalomie gigancie równoległym.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the men's awards ceremony of today's Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom.
Panie i panowie, zapraszam na ceremonię dekoracji najlepszych zawodniczek sezonu 2024-2025. To już teraz rozdamy medale kryształowe za ten sezon oraz kryształową kulę.
Now please welcome the winners of the 2024-2025 Women's Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom.
Na miejscu trzecim reprezentantka Austrii Sabine Peyer.
In third place representing Austria, Sabine Peyer.
Na miejscu drugim reprezentantka Niemiec Ramona Theresia Hofmeister.
In second place representing Germany, Ramona Theresia Hofmeister.
A na miejscu pierwszym reprezentująca Japonię Tsubaki Miki.
In first place representing Japan, Tsubaki Miki.
Nagrody triumfatorkom tego sezonu wręczą Piotr Ryba, burmistrz miasta i gminy Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, członek zarządu Jaworzyny Krynickiej oraz Adam Małysz, prezes Polskiego Związku Narciarskiego.
Medals and globe are being handed in by the following presenters: Piotr Ryba, Mayor of Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, Board Member of Jaworzyna Krynicka, and Adam Małysz, President of Polish Ski Association.
A już teraz kryształową kulę Miki Tsubaki wręcza Peter Krogol.
Crystal Club is being handed by Peter Krogol, FIS. Gratulacje za tegorocznych triumfatorek. I już za chwilę przejdziemy do nagrodzenia najlepszych zawodniczków sezonu 24-25 mężczyzn w Pucharze Świata Slalomu Giganta Równoległego. Thank you for attending the ceremony. Now
Panie i panowie, zapraszam na ceremonię dekoracji i wręczenia kryształowej kuli dla mężczyzn w klasyfikacji generalnej Slalomu Giganta Równoległego Visa FIS.
Now please welcome the winners of the 2024-2025 Men's Visa FIS Snowboard Alpine World Cup Parallel Giant Slalom.
Na miejscu trzecim, reprezentujący Bułgarię, Radosław Jankow.
In third place, representing Bulgaria, Radosław Jankow.
Na miejscu drugim, reprezentujący Austrię, Andreas Promeger.
In second place, representing Austria, Andreas Promeger.
A na miejscu pierwszym, nie kto inny, reprezentant Włoch, Maurizio Bormolini.
And in first place, representing Italy, Maurizio Bormolini.
Nagrody dla triumfatorów wręczy burmistrz miasta i gminy Krynica-Zdrój, pan Piotr Ryba, Tomasz Pasieka, członek zarządu Jaworzyny Krynickiej oraz Adam Małysz, prezes Polskiego Związku Narciarskiego.
Medals are being handed in by Piotr Ryba, mayor of Krynica-Zdrój, Tomasz Pasieka, board member of Jarzyna Krynicka, and Adam Małysz, president of Polski Association.
Mała kryształowa kula za sezon 2024 i 2025 zostanie wręczona przez Petera Krogola.
Globe is presented by Peter Kroglo, FIS race director.
So thank you for joining us this weekend here in Krynica, Poland for this final race of the Parallel Giant Slalom Tour. Alpine racing continues on the 15th of March in Winterberg in Germany. That'll be the last race of the Alpine Tour ahead of the World Championships to be staged in Engadine in Switzerland. My name is Richard Cobbing. Thank you for joining us today. And we hope you're able to join us again next time. Goodbye for now.
Triumfatorów tego sezonu slalomu giganta równoległego z kryształowymi kulami.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the awards ceremony.
teraz na podium zapraszam triumfatorów tego sezonu. Małe kryształowe kule już rozdana. Zapraszam reprezentantkę Japonii, Tsubaki Miki oraz reprezentanta Włoch, Maurizio Bormoliniego.